Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. We are here with Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio, thank you for coming on the show. Let's get straight into some things straight off. I've got a lot to ask you today, so I'm starting off quite quickly. The first thing I want to come in with is about the sale of Manchester United and the takeover. It's been reported over the weekend that, part of the Glazer family wants to sell the club. Avram's potentially still reluctant in doing so. What is the standpoint right now that you know of if the Glazers are actually willing to sell Manchester United?
I think they're willing to sell, but at their price. This has always been the point. I think this is still the point. They always wanted around 6 up to 7 billion pounds to sell Manchester United, and I think this is still the same situation. Of course, the team is going so well with Erik ten Hag. It looks completely different atmosphere around Manchester United, and this is why I think they are also pretty satisfied with what they did in the last few months after difficult years in charge of Manchester United. But now they want 6 up to 7 billion pounds to sell Man United. So we have to see what's going to happen in these conversations with Ineos Group and, of course, with the Qatari group of Sheikh Yassim. The conversations, as we know, are still ongoing after new official bids. So these are going to be crucial days to understand more. But from what I understand, they are open to selling Manchester United, but they want that money. Otherwise, they can also stay at the club. But the situation is pretty clear. They are prepared to sell. It's up to the groups to decide what they want to do in case the Glazers will turn down the new bids.
Yeah, that's exciting news, especially for all the United fans watching. I'm sure like 99% of the fan base want this sale to be done, and depending on whether it happens before summer or not, I think we're still unsure on that right now. But there was also reports that, we know this, that multiple bids have gone in for Manchester United. What is like the process now of what's going to happen next? Have you got any update on that? And do you think this is going to be a quick process? It's going to be a long process? Can you say?
I think it's not super quick. This is pretty clear. It will take some time to understand, first of all, also about the other groups. We know very well that the feeling on Sheikh Yassim's side is very confident. He's still convinced that his bid is the best one. Ineos Group is still there with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, absolutely convinced that he can make it. So these two groups are the favorites, but we know there are also other bidders. So we have to see how will they position their proposals in the next days and weeks. So my expectation is not for a very fast process, but I think in the next 2-3 weeks, the situation will be at least more clear. I'm not sure it's going to be resolved, but it will be more clear. And the feeling remains for Ineos Group and for the Qatari group, the two big favorites to buy Manchester United. But now what they need to do is to match the price asked by the Glazers. And so this is the crucial point. From what I understand, especially on the Sheikh Yassim point, he's really convinced. He wants to proceed. He wants to insist. He wants to find the right way. But of course, it's important to find also the right agreement on the financial point of view. So it's not just about the investments, the debts and everything, but also on how much the Glazers want to sell Manchester United.
Yeah, we had Thomas Siliakis on the show, actually. Is he been considered a serious bidder? I know he's been tweeting on Twitter saying, his bids are very serious. We had him on here. He seemed very serious about what he wants to do at Manchester United. Is he maybe too late to the party? Is he being considered now? Do you know?
Honestly, I am no one to doubt him and his bid and his project, but at the same point, it's just a feeling because, I'm not into the negotiations, and so we don't know exactly what's going on, but the feeling of sources close to the negotiation is that the Qatari group and the Ineos group are the two big favorites. So if something will happen, these look like the two big favorites to buy Manchester United. Then we know that in football in general, and especially in sales process with top clubs like Manchester United, we never know until the end, but these two groups are the two big favorites for sure.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why he's been trying to reach out, trying to get them on board to his side. I'm not sure if that's going to work out for him. But let's move on to some transfer-related stuff into the summer, because obviously it's going to be a really exciting summer all around for many clubs this summer. But there's a few names that are being linked to Manchester United, specifically quite a few strikers, which obviously isn't a surprise. And the latest development is Højlund, and it's been touted that Manchester United are scouting this player. Obviously, Atalanta would want a decent price for him. I'm just asking you, what price do you think Atalanta would be willing to let him go for? And is he a player that would be open to moving in the summer, do you think?
I think on the player side, yes, because he's, from what I understand, set to appoint a new agent. He's deciding on some options. He has like 2-3 big options mentioning about agents. And when you appoint a new agent, is because you are preparing your potential move. So I think the player would be open to move in the summer. So it could be an interesting situation to follow. I'm told the player would be really open in this case, also to try a new experience in a different country. He's doing very well in Italy, but he's open to move maybe to England, to Germany, to important leagues. And so this is why he's really really open. We have to understand about Atalanta, because at the moment Atalanta are still in the fight to enter into the Champions League next season. They want to focus only on the final games of the season and not into negotiations. So it's not something fast. If something will happen with Højlund, I think it will be July, August, so it will take time. And about the price tag, they really don't want to comment. So we don't have a clear price tag for Højlund. My expectation is they paid around 17 million euros to sign him last summer. I know that Atalanta are always very serious when they are in negotiation. It's not easy at all to negotiate with Atalanta. So my expectation is something around 50 million euros if someone wants to buy Rasmus Højlund. My personal feeling is this player is really good. The player is keen on the move, so he would be open to try a new experience. And I think this is a big opportunity. We always hear the big names, of course, on the market about Osimhen. Let's see what happens with Kane, Vlahovic, Sesko. We have many names around, but I think Højlund is a very, very interesting option. Maybe not ready as the others we mentioned, but with an incredible potential.
Yeah, I mean, we know what Atalanta are like, because obviously we bought Amad Diallo off them, and that wasn't a cheap deal either. So they would definitely be hard to negotiate with, but he does look like a really good up-and-coming prospect. Talking about a striker that is really developed, and I would say he is at the top of his game, actually, and that's Harry Kane. And obviously, we know Conte and Spurs, and that relationship has ended now. Conte was a big part of Harry Kane's future. We got that indication. Where does Kane stand now on this? Because obviously, Tottenham are without a manager till the summer. Talks about them wanting to offer him a new contract, but I doubt he would sign it without knowing what the manager situation is going to be. Is his future a little bit up in the air now?
Yes, I would say with Antonio Conte, the relationship was great between Antonio and Harry Kane. So to see Antonio Conte going for Harry Kane contract situation is a problem, I would say, because Tottenham want to offer him a new deal. They have not changed their position. If Conte is no longer there, their position remains clear. They will offer him a new deal. They will insist to keep Harry Kane at least for one more season at Tottenham. But the idea is very clear also on the player side. He wants to understand who's going to be the new coach, what kind of project they have in mind, what they are going to offer on a technical point of view and not just on the money. So this is why Harry Kane is waiting, and this is why the new contract is not signed yet. I think this kind of manager situation will make things slow, also because Tottenham are not appointing a new coach in few hours of days. It probably will take weeks or months. So it's going to be important to understand who's going to be the coach, what this coach will do to keep Harry Kane at the club. We know how important was Antonio Conte to keep Harry Kane at Tottenham in a difficult moment for the player. So the future is still unclear for Harry Kane. What I can mention is that Tottenham are prepared to fight, to offer him a new deal, or maybe to ask for crazy money to sell Harry Kane. So it's not going to be easy in any case. I'm sure also that Manchester United really appreciate the player. Erik ten Hag is a big fan of the player, and so he's for sure one of the options, but in this case, depends on Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting, especially when we get to the summer. As I said, United have been linked to so many strikers at the moment. There's quite a couple to get through. But the next one I wanted to bring up was Evan Ferguson, obviously playing for Brighton, just coming through at 18 years old. And apparently, I think it was reported that scouts are going to watch him play. Scouts from Manchester United are going to watch him play against France tonight. Is he a player that's also on Manchester United's radar?
I can tell you that Man United scouts were already there to follow this boy 2-3 times in the last 3-4 months. So he's a player that Man United are already following. But as many other clubs, every time in attendance for this boy, there are like 6-7 top clubs, as he's a really special and talented striker. The feeling into Brighton is they want to keep the player at least for one more season. So I'm not sure it's going to be easy to sign Ferguson in the summer, also because the player is happy there. He knows that probably Brighton is the best place to develop and then maybe move in summer 2024. So this is why at the moment the situation is not easy at all. But it's true that Man United, alongside many other clubs, are monitoring him. I think it's absolutely normal to have your scouts around Europe to follow the best talents. He's for sure one of them, one of the most appreciated players around Europe in this moment. But I think, for example, a player like Højlund, because of the club situation, is more accessible than Ferguson in this moment. So we have to see in the summer, but with Brighton it's always tough to negotiate, and the expectation is for them probably to lose Caicedo, probably to lose McAllister. So for Brighton will not be an easy summer, but for sure they will be strong in negotiations for Ferguson.
Yeah, Brighton are one of the strongest in negotiations. We've seen that in the past.
For
And
sure.
it's weird with Brighton because obviously they'll sell the players, and then next season there's loads of other players that everyone's interested in. They've got such a good recruitment process there, and I'm sure the talent will just keep coming through them ranks. But yeah, a lot of great, brilliant Brighton players at the moment that everyone's looking at. The next player I wanted to move on to is Enzo Lefebvre. He's a little bit of a fan favourite at the moment in the Manchester United fan base. A lot of fans are kind of like him and, are touting him as a player that could be a great future midfielder for Manchester United, but that doesn't always mean that the club are looking at him. What is the situation regarding him at the moment? I know he's only got a year left on his deal.
Yes, and could be an interesting situation in the summer in general. At the moment, I'm not aware of any concrete contact with Man United. I think in general for Man United, as we always mentioned, for striker, for midfielders, or any other position, is going to be crucial to understand how much they can spend on the market, what kind of budget they will have, who's going to be the owner. So there are many important points to understand what kind of investments they will make in the summer. He's a very good player. I agree with you. I agree with Man United fans. It would be amazing to see him in Premier League also because of his style. So it could be really interesting. But at the same time, I'm not aware of any advanced contact. For sure, the player have a dream of Premier League football. So it's on the clubs now, or Man United or any other club, if they want to proceed. I feel that Man United have different kind of priorities. So the top priority will be a center striker. They really want a center striker. They will be on the market for that position. And all the other positions will be like smart signings or maybe interesting signings, like could be Manu Kone from Borussia Mönchengladbach or that kind of midfielder, maybe with different skills.
Yeah, that was just what I wanted to bring up actually on the midfielder front. You spoke about that player and also Amrabat as well. And I think his brother's been saying that Man United wanted him with a loan and an option to buy deal from Fiorentina, but they rejected. Is he a player that Man United's interested in still, potentially?
So Amrabat was an option before signing Sabitzer. What happened is that in the final hours of the transfer market in January, Man United were looking for a new midfielder because of the Eriksen situation. We knew that the original plan was not to go for a midfielder, but then they decided to act because of the injury of Christian Eriksen. And so before going for Sabitzer, Man United also asked Fiorentina for Sofiane Amrabat on loan with an important loan fee, with a buy option not guaranteed, so not mandatory, but Fiorentina said no. At the moment, from what I understand, there are no fresh contacts between Man United and Amrabat. Also, my understanding is that the player prefers La Liga as potential options for his future. So he's a big fan of La Liga. Then let's see. We know that in the market, we can never predict things. For example, Amrabat was not a concrete target for United in January, and then it became a target in the final hours of the market. I can also say that Man United are very happy with Sabitzer. So I think that Sabitzer situation is going to be an important one to understand also how much they will invest on the midfielder. Sabitzer is doing very well. The player is really happy at Man United. He would love to stay at Man United. So now we have to see what happens with Tuchel at Bayern and what Man United will decide at the end of the season. But they're very happy with each other. Man United with Sabitzer and Sabitzer with Man United.
It's very rare a player prefers La Liga over the Premier League nowadays, but fair enough. But another player
Honestly, I think if Man United will return or any other English club, he's not going to reject. It's just probably a preference. But I think he was not going to reject Man United, Chelsea, or any other club.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But I mean, people speak about the difference between La Liga and the Premier League, but they still do have, obviously, Barcelona and Real Madrid are always going to be top clubs in Europe, definitely. But I mean, this summer is just looking, it's going to be really good. I definitely am excited for it. But there was two other striker names I wanted to bring back up as well. There's so many strikers. I actually said I think Man United will be linked to near enough every striker in Europe at some point in the summer because,
I agree.
Whenever Man United need a certain position, it's obvious we get linked to everyone. But Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos, you spoke a little bit about Gonzalo Ramos before. He seems like he's a top target for United, but potentially might be a little bit too pricey. Then Kolo Muani, it was being reported that Erik ten Hag really liked the player, but again, over 100 million. What's the situation regarding these two players?
Yes, for Gonzalo Ramos, for sure, Man United have been many times following him. So also before the World Cup, not just after the World Cup. So he's a player they know very well. I think the idea is to go for a more kind of traditional number 9, so more physical number 9, more kind of physical player, not just technical player. Gonzalo Ramos is amazing, but I think they can look as priority on different kind of striker. For sure, Gonzalo Ramos is appreciated. The problem is the clause. He has a release clause for 120 million euros, and we know how tough it is to negotiate with Benfica too. So it's not going to be easy at all. And also because
basically
they don't need money. Also, basically, they already made big money with Enzo Fernandez and many other deals, so they don't need money, and I'm sure that the clause is protecting them in this kind of situation. And then for Kolo Muani, there is no clause in this case, but Eintracht will fight to keep the player at least for one more season and sell him after the Euros 2024. This is the plan for Eintracht, to try to resist. They will only sell the player if they will receive crazy money. And so again, how much Man United will spend on the striker? Because if they want to spend more than 100 million euros, is 1 point. If they want to spend less, I think it's going to be difficult to sign a player like Kolo Muani or Osimhen or all the others we are mentioning. So the budget is going to be crucial this summer to understand what's going to happen. For sure, they are appreciated players, but in this moment, I think it's important to understand how much is going to be the budget, and this way too early to predict, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what striker Man United do actually end up with. But lastly, before I let you leave, I just wanted to ask about two Chelsea players actually. Man United have been linked to Kovacic and Mount, both players potentially looking to leave Chelsea. Is there any interest there from the players' side and also Man United's side as well?
Honestly, I'm not aware of anything advanced with these two players, but I would keep these two situations open because these are two big opportunities. Two players who are out of contract in summer 2024. At the moment, there is no agreement to extend contracts of Kovacic and same for Mason Mount. So at the moment, everything is absolutely open. And now is March. So as we mentioned, for Man United, the priority is the striker and something different. But maybe if we enter into the summer and these two players are still not extending the contract with Chelsea, it could become an opportunity for many Premier League clubs. What I understand is that both Kovacic and Mount are very comfortable with the Premier League football. And so they hope to stay in Premier League, let's say, at Chelsea or any other club. So it could become an opportunity, but at the moment, it's not something concrete.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fabrizio. I could have kept going, but you've got many places to be, and we'll have you back on next Monday, I'm sure, or maybe the Monday after that. But thank you for coming on.
Thanks a lot, as always. Ciao.
Bye. Well, everybody, that was Fabrizio Romano talking all things transfers. First of all, get in the comments what you think. I can see comments coming in straight away. No Mason Mount, no Mount, no Mount, no Mount. I put out a little tweet a bit ago and it got so much backlash saying I wouldn't mind Mason Mount. And I saw so many people ridiculously against, well, not ridiculously because everyone's allowed their opinion, but super against it. And I just want to know where all the hate's coming from for Mason Mount. I think he's a good player. He's not someone I would be desperate for Man United to go and buy, but I don't think it would be a bad sign. I think it'd be a good sign. Obviously, it's just the price and everything like that. But I thought that was a really good interview from Fabrizio. Got a lot of information there about what type of striker Manchester United actually want to go for and where the priorities lie in the summer. As Romano said himself, we're going to be linked to nearly every striker when it comes into the summer. I've said it multiple times before on the show. When Man United, it's obvious that they need a certain type of player. When they need a midfielder, when they need a striker, when they need a centre back, near enough every midfielder, centre back or striker, whatever position you're going for, is going to get linked to Manchester United. The reason being is we're the biggest club in the world. Agents and players, if they want to leave their club, they'll use Man United's name to get their name out there and create interest. Clubs will try and drum up interest for the players from other clubs if they want to sell, if they want to make some money. So we're going to get linked to quite a few players, but it's just kind of trying to figure out which ones are actually serious and which ones aren't. As I was speaking then to Romano about, let's get in, all the options really. So far we've got Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, Evan Ferguson, Kolo Muani, Gonzalo Ramos, Jonathan David seems to have gone off the radar right now. A lot of people in the chat saying Ivan Toney. I love Ivan Toney. I like the look of him very much. He would be right up there at the top of my list. Ivan Toney would honestly, say Osimhen's here, Ivan Toney would be literally here. I rate Ivan Toney so highly. I just don't think it's going to happen because of all of the betting situations. We've literally not been linked to Ivan Toney once. So if United aren't linked to him now, I don't see us suddenly changing our mind and thinking, yeah, we're going to go for Ivan Toney. Højlund, as everyone's saying there, Vlahovic. There's so many strikers, and it didn't feel like there was many available when you looked at kind of at the start of the year. And now I'm here sat with like nearly 7-8 strikers on our hands of potential options Man United could be going for. But what I do think is clear from this interview is that I don't think Gonzalo Ramos is going to be one of the people that is likely to come into Manchester United. I know a lot of Man United fans saying, Gonzalo Ramos, they're in my top pick. I know Faz was on the show saying that Gonzalo Ramos is his top pick. I really like the player. Gonzalo Ramos technically is brilliant. I think he's 21 years old to be doing what he's doing is insane. Last year he was kind of assisting Nunes. Now he's stepped into Nunes' shoes and he's scoring multiple goals. His record is excellent. For Portugal, he's looked brilliant. But as Romano said, it looks like Manchester United are looking for more of a physical, dominated number 9. And to me, straight away, I'm thinking Osimhen. Osimhen is that physical number 9 that is going to be able to win stuff in the box, that he's going to be fast, strong, good with the ball at his feet. Muani is quite physical, quite strong as well. So it's understandable why Erik ten Hag likes the look of him. He's not really an out-and-out number 9 profile, more of a winger number 9/false 9. So would he really be the top target? It looks like Erik ten Hag's interested in him. I've actually filmed a video that might go out shortly about Muani and potentially, why Erik ten Hag does really like this player. Great with the ball at his feet, fluidity. It's just the amount of money that he's going to cost. And then Harry Kane. he got brought up. Harry Kane is a top target for United. Erik ten Hag likes the player. We know that he's definitely an option in the summer. He's one of them players that I think Man United will try and go for. But again, the Conte situation could have really helped Manchester United out. I mean, Daniel Levy might be forced into a corner where he really has to consider in selling Kane in the summer. If Kane doesn't sign a contract, which I doubt he's going to now Conte's left, and he doesn't know the managerial situation, and he actually shows a bit of ambition, and he's broke the record for England, he's thinking to himself, broke the record for England, I broke that record. Why don't I actually go and try and win a trophy now? I mean, Spurs are allergic to trophies, and I don't want to finish my career trophyless, despite having all these records that I'm going to break. I also want to break the Premier League top goal scoring record. So where can I do that? I can't go to Chelsea because the London, and it just won't go down well as Spurs fans. City's now got Haaland. Like, where am I going to go? Oh, who desperately needs a striker? Who am I really going to, who's the typical club that are going to go for me at this age in my career? It would be Manchester United. So as much as Kane isn't my number one target, which he's not, I think he'd be a brilliant signing. Do not get me wrong. I think he's a great striker. No one in the chat can sit here and tell me that Harry Kane isn't a top striker, like a world-class striker. He's broke the England record. He's scoring 20 plus goals in the Premier League for the last 6 years in a horrible Spurs side. He is a top striker and he'd be brilliant for Man United. Would I prefer Osimhen? Yes. But it feels like the stars are aligning that Harry Kane is going to end up at Man United if I do say so, especially with Conte now leaving. And it just feels like such a Man United type of move. I would love Osimhen, and I think Osimhen's definitely up there as well as a top target. Don't think Vlahovic is. A lot of people put Vlahovic in the chat as well. We've just not really seemed to be linked to Vlahovic much since Rangnick left, but definitely Kane and Osimhen, I think, are the top targets for Man United. I think we will spend big on a striker. I know I've seen a lot of people saying, I don't think we'll get either of them. I was speaking to Adam about this. He said, I don't think we'll get either of them. Why not? We're Manchester United and we need to spend big on a striker. It's a huge gap in our team. I think they're definitely both top targets for us. Let's see what the chat is saying. What is a good price for Harry Kane? I mean, for me personally, Harry Kane's not going to go for less than 100 mil. I think that's ridiculous, by the way, with a year left on his contract at 30 years old. I think max I'd want to pay for Kane would be 80 at this point. But Daniel Levy is he's awful. He is awful. Honestly, if anyone watched the Spurs documentary, he comes across horrible in that as well. He's just, no disrespect to his kind of personality, but as an owner and someone to deal with, he's just not what you want to be dealing with. And I agree with Mark's point. You won't get him till August 31st either because he's just a nightmare to negotiate with. We think City are good at negotiating deals. Even City couldn't get a tune out of Daniel Levy. I think City were offering 100 plus million at one point, and players as well included. Still wasn't getting a tune out of him. So, and Harry Kane was missing training on top of it. He would be tough. He would really be tough. And a lot of people saying Kane isn't. Someone said Kane isn't a top striker. They're a nutcase. I can understand not wanting Kane at United because of his age and because of wanting a different profile, like an Osimhen who's quick, different type of profile to Harry Kane, or potentially even wanted a Gonzalo Ramos because he's a different profile to Harry Kane. I can't understand anyone saying Harry Kane isn't a top striker because he massively is. And Donnelly, all right, Beth, how's things? Things are good, Things are good. I'm excited for United to play again at the weekend. International break is a no-go for me. I've watched the highlights of the England games. I've not watched the games. They bore me to death. I think Southgate's a horrific manager. I think the stuff with Rashford is just ridiculous. And it just doesn't excite me unless it's a Euros or a World Cup. I get excited for it because I know what England are capable of. Then you get brought back down to earth with horrible management and wasted potential. But yeah, anyway, enough about that. Højlund, a lot of people are saying Højlund, I've got to admit, I've not seen much of him. I've really not watched much of Atalanta this year at all. So I've not seen much of him. He's someone I definitely have to scout. I'm going to be honest, if I haven't seen a player that much, and I've not seen much of Højlund. But from what I've been speaking to a lot of people I know who watch a lot of European football, and I've been looking a little bit online, which you can't really tell much of. You need to watch actual in-game footage, and he does look like a top target. And even Romano said himself, if United want a top player for the future, potentially not right at the right stage now, he's a really attractive option for Manchester United to go for. But then again, I mean, Amad Diallo was playing regularly for Atalanta. I think Amad's going to be a great player. I think he'll come into the first team next year. I really do. But we'd have to wait. We've had to wait quite a bit for him to develop. He's had to go on loans, a couple of loans. He's developed in the under-23s. He's now gone to Sunderland, where he's been brilliant. Man United don't have time to wait when it comes to a player. If we got Højlund in, he'd have to perform now. I wouldn't be comfortable just saying, let's get Højlund. He's our striker. Let's get nobody else. Højlund looks brilliant for the future. But if I was United, like we were saying on the morning show, Man United need 2 strikers minimum. I'd be going getting Højlund and Osimhen. You're like, that's or Ferguson and Osimhen, or Ferguson and Kane, you know, something like that, or Højlund and Kane. For me, Højlund and Ferguson are the bracket of future strikers that Man United have to be going to look at. They have to be, because they're brilliant up and coming strikers. But are they ready now to take on the number 9 role for Manchester United? It's the most pressurising club, the most fans, the top club in the world. Erik ten Hag is going to be wanting to compete for Champions League, Premier League next year. Like, we're on a serious journey. Are they ready to pull on the shirt now and start week in, week out for United with that pressure of the number 9 role up front? I don't think so. Could there be brilliant talents that Erik ten Hag can nurture into the first team and, make into the future number 9 for Man United? Absolutely. And that's why we should be going for, a Kane or an Osimhen, and then you should also be getting a Ferguson or a Højlund in as well. That's my personal opinion on this situation. And I mean, Kolo Muani is an interesting one. Do you know what's mad as well? Gonzalo Ramos is 21, and I think he's good enough to be number 9 for United. I really do. I'd still prefer to go for a Kane or an Osimhen, but Gonzalo Ramos is 21 and he looks amazing. So, age is sometimes only just a number, but Højlund and Ferguson for now, for me, still need to be developed. But definitely be players I'd be going for. And what is the budget we should expect for summer? I don't actually know. With this whole ownership situation, I have no idea. And actually, let's have a quick update with the ownership situation from Romano. He said at the start, for me personally, I've said this on multiple shows before. When I was covering the shows for Mark last week on the morning shows, you guys would have seen it. I'm in the 90% club. I do think the Glazers are going to sell Manchester United. I really do. I don't think they can be going through this whole process to step out and not sell it. I know there's reports Avram is against it. I also still think this is a technique to make other bidders up their offers, to make, they want 6 billion. They're going to put stuff out there that claims that they're not going to sell in order to make bidders bid higher to reach that price tag. And they can't walk away and do absolutely nothing, because that will be manipulating the market. They can't do that. They just can't do that. The worst they can do is take the minor investment from the Elliott Group, which would be horrendous for us. And that is definitely still an option that they can do. But like Romano said, and Romano will speak to many people every single day about this, Romano is definitely in the know around this subject. He said it's between, right now for him, he can't obviously say it with absolute definite behind it, but he said right now it's between Ineos and Sejim and Sheikh Jassim. So the 2 parties that have been there from the start, battling it out, Sejim and Sheikh Jassim, it does look like it's going to be one of them. Jassim's still confident, so is Sejim. So we'll have to you get confused, don't you? Sejim and Jassim. I feel like I'm saying the same thing every time. So I'll say Qatar to make it easier. Sejim and Qatar are battling it out, and I think Qatar have obviously got the more financial power. I don't see how Sejim can win that battle unless, Sheikh Jassim and Qatar just say, I'm not paying that, let's walk away. But I doubt that's going to happen. They really want it. They've gone through this whole process. I'll have to wait and see. He said the next few weeks we'll get a lot more of an update on this, Romano said. So within the next 3 weeks, I think he said that this will happen. But that's not, in 3 weeks' time, we're nearly into May. Then all the processes have to do, legally. And they see that at the end of at the end of April, they might say, we want to do another round of bids here. It's still not high enough. And then you've got another month on top of it. Even if they turn around at the end of April and say, yep, you know what, we're going to go with Sejim, or we're going to go with Sheikh Jassim, we're going to want to move forward with you, let's get this done. You've still got all the paperwork to get to. And, you've got to get through all these legal processes. That's really, draining, especially for people like us that, some of you might be interested in finances in the chat, but I'm not. I'm not interested in the finances of things at all. I just want to know who's going to be the owner of Manchester United. And then, you're looking at the end of May, minimum probably then. That's if everything goes on track from now, you're looking at the end of the May. And then you're into the summer transfer window immediately. You've had no preparation. And that's if we're lucky. So summer transfer window, there will be plans in place if this deal hasn't happened before then. But it's just frustrating. It honestly is frustrating. And I agree with everyone when they say it's taking so long and they can't be bothered with it anymore. I can't be. I really can't. Every single day, it's just, Qatar, Sejim, what's it going to be? I really liked Ziliakis, who I spoke to on that interview, if anyone watched it. Obviously, it doesn't. Romano said he's not going to doubt his integrity, and he obviously does want to bid for Manchester United, but I think it might be a little bit too little too late for him, even though I did think his plan was actually quite good when he spoke about it on the show. But it does look like it's between Sir Jim and Sheikh Jassim, and yeah, I just hope it's done sooner rather than later, but I can't give you a time scale. I tried my hardest. But the what we got from Romano is 3 weeks. We'll have a lot more certainty over the situation with Man United right now. So that's either going to be another round of bids, or they're going to actually pick someone to move forward with and actually start off the sale process and get it going. Spoke a little bit about Lefay. I know a fan favourite with many of you. Oh God, I've just seen the chat. Beth, company acquisitions can take 6 to 18 months. No, I'm joking. I'm joking with you guys. I can't deal with that if that happens. I mean, the people that Qatar have in charge, they'll be the best of the best. I don't know who Sir Jim's got in charge. You know, I don't know if they'll be as efficient as Qatar, but I know for a fact Qatar will have the best of the best people in charge. I know that. So I think it will be probably quicker than the average takeover. But then again, you also have the Glazers involved, which are probably the slowest moving. Don't want to be disrespectful, the slowest moving group of people that I've ever seen, unless it's, you know, maybe when there's 6 billion hanging at the other end of it, they might be a bit quicker. Do you know what I mean? Maybe when they've got 6 billion on the line, they might want to get this process going. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But honestly, it's frustrating. Anyway, back onto Enzo Lefay. Romano said, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're looking at him right now, but he's definitely a talent that'd be suited to the Premier League and be good for, you know, a Premier League club that wants to come in and buy him. I really like Enzo Lefay. I like the look of him. I watched a bit of Lorient games and looking at his player. He looks great. I hope United move for him, but right now doesn't look like we're there with that. Amrabat for first La Liga. You know, I'll be questioning that. I mean, I'm not questioning Romano. I know he's speaking the truth here. He's got very good contacts. Amrabat probably does prefer La Liga, but maybe he's had a little, you know, someone's come to him and said, look, Amrabat, looks like Barcelona might be interested, or looks like Real Madrid might be interested. I think it's Barca, if any of them. Barca haven't got any money, so I don't know how that would work. They've gone, look, they're interested in you. Like, you know, this move might be on the cards, and Amrabat's suddenly thinking, you know what, La Liga is a league for me. It's a league for me. But realistically, the Premier League's better than La Liga. I don't care what anyone says. And I mean, it's still a decent league. La Liga's still definitely a very good league. I mean, Barcelona, Real Madrid are always going to be top teams. But if a player prefers La Liga, then there's not really any much more point exploring it, to be honest with you. Romano said he wouldn't disregard Man United, but and he obviously, if he got the opportunity, he'd probably jump at the chance. But it looks like La Liga is probably more on the cards for him now. And I'm happy we got Sabitzer anyway. Can I just say, I really like Amrabat. I thought for Morocco in the World Cup, he was brilliant. I thought he was a player Liverpool should have gone for, if I'm being honest with you. A little bit more of a defensive midfielder, in my opinion, than what the likes of Sabitzer is. But I'm happy we got Sabitzer. Looks like Sabitzer wants to stay. Ten Hag's impressed with him. United are impressed with him. I think we'll buy Sabitzer. But I have seen a couple of people this morning and last night saying they don't think we should buy Sabitzer, and they think Fred isn't enough backup with the likes of Eriksen if we get another number 8 in. I really like Sabitzer. I think he's a great squad player to have, a brilliant squad player to have. And if McTominay is going to Newcastle for 30 million, which it looks like I don't know what the price will be, but it looks like he's going to Newcastle, then Sabitzer is the perfect signing. If we get Sabitzer in for like 20, 25 million, and, you know, McTominay goes to Newcastle for like 30 mil, that is a brilliant piece of business because Sabitzer's better. He's a great squad player. And, you know, you're still making a little bit of money as well. So I think it'd be a stupid deal not to do. I really like Sabitzer. I think he's a good squad player. I think he understands his role at the club. And I still think he's got much more to offer. Again, we've not really seen him with Casemiro play 90 minutes regularly. I need to see him and Casemiro play like 3 games in a row together. Unfortunately, we're dealing with this red card issue right now, which is annoying as anything. But I need to see that happen before the end of the season. And I would be happy if we bought him. That's my opinion anyway. He would definitely be my pick above McTominay. Above Fred, yeah, I think he still would be my pick above Fred. But Fred has been good this season. He has been. Orion S4 says, Beth, I sent you a message on Instagram. Please reply. I'll have a little look after this show. slid into the DMs. I've seen slid into the DMs. I'll have a little look. What else did we speak about? Have I covered everything here? Have I covered everything? Yeah, Mount and Kovacic. I mean, players wanting to leave, but as I said, our name's going to get attached to a lot of players that want to leave this summer. I think both of them players would be decent players to look at. Would I be going for players that maybe, you know, haven't really Kovacic is a good player, a very good player, underrated player. But I'd probably be going for the future, if I'm being honest. Going for the future. Mason Mount, it depends what price. It depends what price, if I'm being honest with you. He's not someone I'd go and get for a lot of money, but I think he's a great player, and I think he's definitely somebody that is better than what a lot of people think. And I think under a new manager, it'd be interesting to see how it'd work. Also on the Sabitzer role, it's going to be on the Sabitzer thing and about the transfer. It's going to be interesting to see whether Sabitzer is going to be wanted under Tuchel. Because obviously Nagelsmann has left now. And Tuchel might come in and say, I want Sabitzer, bring him back. And that is a problem if that happens. But we'll just have to wait and see on this situation. But yeah, that about rounds everything up that we spoke about today. But I mean, it was a great show, a great interview. Could have got through a lot more stuff. Didn't get to speak about certain things. But Romano is a regular on this channel, as you know. We've had some really good interviews recently. And Romano is one of them. He's a regular and going to keep bringing you the updates moving towards the summer transfer window and the ownership situation. It's really important that we keep doing these interviews with you guys with some top journalists to keep everybody in the know. But thank you everyone for watching the show. Make sure you hit a like and subscribe, and also make sure you get in the comments down below. Thank you everyone for your chats as always, but get your comments in down below. What do you think about the players mentioned today? What striker do you want for Manchester United? What midfielders do you want for Manchester United? Is there any names we didn't mention that you think Manchester United should be going for? I appreciate you a lot. Thank you for watching the show, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Stay tuned for 8 p.m. coming as well.